Lord's will, this is it. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Racha HaKodash, double honor to the elders and apostles that carry millstones and rule well, peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect, Shalom, Barakatham. And I'm in transit this morning, with the breaking news yesterday and last night of them striking Iran. I'm just going to play some of this news clip just to get a little bit of reaction, and Lord willing, this is edifying.
Hello everybody, it's about 8:30 p.m. here on the East Coast. I have some very grave news to share with all of you. Israel has now conducted strikes on Iran, something that we warned about on our today's program. However, very few people expected it for actually to take place tonight. I'm going to go ahead and share just some of the details that we have initially. Ryan and Crystal and Emily will show you guys some of.
Yeah, so he says a grave news, okay? And why is that grave news? Because everybody knows how this is going to end, okay? America hasn't won a war since, World War II, if you even want to count that. Okay, all of those wars they've been into has been an L. The Korean War was an L, okay? The Vietnam War was an L. The Russian Cold War was an L. Russia is still the #1 threat today. So you lost the Cold War too, okay? Iraq, L. Afghanistan, L, okay? And it's to the point where they weren't even declaring those as wars. They were just going in with, they call it U.S. military intervention, when really Congress is supposed to declare war on a particular nation state before you engage fully with the military, okay? The president's supposed to be limited in his executive powers on what he can do militarily without going to Congress to declare war officially, but they just ignored that, okay?
Videos of Tehran. You can see smoke plumes that are rising all across the city, presumably stories, although that is not yet given. Presume that, though, of course, given the rhetoric and some of the reporting that we had previously known. What we do know is that Israel has confirmed that they have taken the strikes on Iran, and they are now directly taking precautions inside of the city, quote, for days of battle. This is according to their own defense minister, that Israel is now expecting attacks, retaliatory attacks from Iran after this strike. I do want to just underscore how absolutely extraordinary this all is. And, just literally hours ago here in Washington, President Trump, quote, said he wanted an agreement with Iran and stressed that the United States is close to a good deal with the Iranians. This was, again, literally hours ago. Look at the timestamp here. Quote, I prefer a deal as long as I think there is a chance. I would rather that they, quote, the Israelis, don't go in order not to ruin it. Did you all underscore that one? In order not to ruin it. And
right.
Literally.
So President Trump essentially was going to go in today and have a meeting with them to try to work things out. But what did the small heads do? They did it anyway last night. Okay, what did the scriptures say? Jeremiah 49 and Jeremiah 50. Okay, it says the least of the flock shall draw them out. Okay, and it will make their habitations desolate. All right, and that's what's getting ready to happen. This whole thing, that's how it's going to end. There's going to be nothing left of America or Israel when it's all said and done. Okay, because World War III will have taken place, and the Charagma will be upon the world. Okay, things are going to happen. There's going to be a back and forth. They're going to declare an emergency for you people. Okay, when you read Matthew 24, I'll try to get it real quick in transit, and I'll just let the rest of this play. Okay. Matthew 24, verse 6, it says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Okay? See that you be not troubled. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Okay? So when the wars start, that's going to be the beginning of Jacob's trouble. That's going to be the beginning of all of the plagues that hit America. And it's going to be that's going to be the catalyst for this new world system to happen, okay? They're going to do, they can scare you in times of war. They can take egregious amounts of power and latitude when they know that the threat of war is afoot, okay? They did this in World War II. They made up ability to tax you on payroll because of World War II. And did they ever take it back? No. So this is the time where they make draconian laws and make them permanent, okay? And all of these things they're setting up in Palantir, you'll see how this whole thing is piecing together.
Again, just, immediately following that, and clearly, presumably, maybe a shot across the bow at Israel is that they did not listen from Donald Trump. This, again, was just literally 3 hours ago. Quote, "We remain committed to a diplomatic resolution to the Iran nuclear issue. My entire administration has been directed to negotiate with Iran. They could be a great country, but they must completely give up hopes of obtaining a nuclear weapon. Thank you for your attention to this matter." Just a couple things I want to underscore here. The United States was scheduled to meet tomorrow, with the Iranians to potentially reach some sort of nuclear agreement. The Israelis are now sending a message to us and to the world. We don't care about any of that. Diplomacy itself is fake, according to them.
Yeah.
What they have chosen to do is to directly slap the United States here in the face and the entire world for any chance of diplomacy. They have now forced our hand and their own by creating this geopolitical crisis here in the United States. Remember,
because they're really in charge. And see, these people don't want to admit it, that a foreign nation can be over you. But nations aren't really a thing, okay? Esau has the fatness of the earth. All of these borders that they draw across Africa, across Europe, about Asia, the elites, they don't respect none of that, man, okay? They're confederate with one another by their bloodlines, okay? They don't give a damn about the difference between Idaho and California, or the United States and Canada, okay? They run the world, man. And see, they don't want to admit that these so-called politicians you see on television don't have any power. The people, these political pundits, they're having a hard time wrapping their mind around that. They think Donald Trump just has to have all of it, but well, he doesn't, okay? Clearly, because he can't do nothing about this, man. No matter how unpopular it is, they're gonna make y'all go to war, okay?
all of this comes from the fact that the United States got either wind, perhaps they were supporting something like this on the back end. We will soon learn if details become clear on that front. We will remain tuned for that because it is certainly possible all of this has been a giant head fake from the Trump administration. They knew the entire time. We supported them with intelligence, and you will certainly hear that from me and from the show if we are able to get that information. But in terms of what we know publicly, and I can say I've been on the phone literally all day with my sources in and around Washington. Many of them warned me that something very, very bad was going to happen, but the general optimism was for Trump's rhetoric, as we saw from a couple of hours ago, and the fact that we still had perhaps a chance at these nuclear talks with Steve Witkoff that were going to happen tomorrow. Israel has now wiped all of that off of the table. They have chosen to start this war. This will almost certainly lead to retaliation and to United States intervention. We will be absolutely lucky if all we have to do is spend $5 to $10 billion just protecting the state of Israel, given the way that our current politics is. But
y'all are gonna get drug in there, man. There's gonna be boots on the ground, okay, in the so-called Middle East, the area around the Euphrates where y'all call Syria. That's where it's gonna go down, okay? Y'all all are going to be a part of it. Russia, okay? Libya, Ethiopia, Iran, okay? Iraq, Turkey, you know? See, we know what's going to we know what's coming down the pipe, man, okay? That's why we're not worried. We're excited, man, okay? We're glad that this is finally popping off, man, because we're sick of being here, okay? We're sick of going through the motions with you whack-ass people, man, you know? Anyway, play the rest of this.
To mention that Iran has said directly that any strikes on its nuclear facilities would lead to retaliatory strikes against the United States and against Israel. A broader conflagration is now absolutely certain. It is certain. This is a historic moment. And I'm just going to leave everybody with this, that just today, Steve Witkoff briefed members of the United States Senate, in which he warned, quote, Iran's response to an Israeli strike would be a mass casualty event. And I'm going to read from this. Iran has vowed to strike U.S. targets in the region in the event of an attack on its nuclear facilities. And what Steve Witkoff told them, very specifically, behind closed doors in an intelligence briefing, military strikes on Israel are on the table, but is that Iran's ballistic missile capabilities are far more than we previously had thought. The U.S. is concerned Israel's air defenses will not be able to handle an Iranian response
they should be
involving
concerned.
hundreds of
They should be concerned. If you're stationed over there in Kuwait, or if you're stationed over there in what's the other base they got over there? They have Kuwait, another major one. There's two major bases over there, okay, within easily strikeable range of Iran, man. Okay, and y'all lives are in danger, man, because of somebody that a so-called foreign nation, okay, made decisions, and it's proving that there is no American, government. Okay, the American government is just to control the domestic population and keep them in order. But the elites, they're really just doing whatever they want to do, man. Okay, and you got a bunch of egos, all right, and they're fighting against each other right now, man. Okay, that's how the whole thing it has started. It's elites divided and fighting against one another.
missile. Such an attack would cause massive casualties and damage. Witkoff has raised concerns about Iran's ballistic arsenal during his speech. According to U.S. intelligence estimates, Iran has 2,000 ballistic missiles with warheads that carry 2,000 pounds of explosives. Israel is within range for many of these missiles. So we are in a very, very dangerous situation for us and for the world. This is the closest that we have come to a massive war since the breakout of the Ukraine war, but arguably we have never, the United States, been closer to a major war in my lifetime since the war in Iraq. This is an absolutely unprecedented move, earth-shattering move by the state of Israel to force the hand of the United States of America and to bring our troops into this war. We will have so much more, presumably, to cover this for the next several weeks, months, years, unfortunately, given what we know about the U.S. foreign policy community. And my thoughts and prayers are with every United States service member who is there in the Middle East. We are with you, and I can just promise you on my front, at the very least, I will do everything possible in my power to keep you out of harm's way.
This guy looks scared as hell, man. You look scared as hell. All right? Hey, and they should be, man, because a lot of you people on TV might get drafted, man. Okay? It's all fun and games until the missiles start flying, until the Lord shows up. Okay, and the Lord ain't even really showed up yet. Okay, He's got things happening and moving in the earth, but the Lord is really going to show Himself pretty soon. 44, call for long. How about you, man? I was shy, man. Anyway, I'm gonna end it there, man. Lord willing, this is edifying. Call for long. How about you, man? I was shy, but Hashem, Shalom, Kwam Yasharol.